Hello guys, welcome back to the live coverage from Chaos TV for the CyberGamer SteelSeries League of Legends Challenge. I'm Matt, is joined by Spuddington. Apologies for the delays, but we are live now into the picks and bans for game number 2. It's going to be Benched Gaming up against the same team we saw in the first round, taking out Dignitas UK, Revolt Gentlemen. And we are live into picks and bans here. Spud, how are you feeling?
Pretty good at the moment. I will be casting from the stream. Broken record, as I've mentioned previously, but for the duration of Champion Select, there are only 2 slots. One of them occupied by the streamer, the other one occupied by Metas, who is fat. And we do have the bans coming in. Evelyn going to be banned out. Zyra, Nautilus, Zerath, Thresh, and I don't know what the final one is, but it seems that Evelyn is very popular today.
She is banned out of both games, and actually both teams that have banned her out have been Revolt Gentlemen. They've eliminated twice in a row. And indeed, I am fat, remodeled after Gragas. You know, I am the influence behind that one. Either way, we are into the picks and bans. He said Evelyn, Zyra, Nautilus, Zerath, Thresh, and Shen. Zerath definitely banned against the ridiculous Snow who played him last time around and was crushing faces from 5 miles away. Kha'Zix's the first lock in, and it is going to be up to bench right now. They're opting for the Jace. They haven't locked him in just yet, but he is definitely a top tier champion picked time and time again. There we go, locked in, and Nardius is still picking his champion. But Kha'Zix and Jace, fairly standard picks, nothing to really write home about though, Spud.
Yeah, people are getting in their last few games with current Kha'Zix before the next patch. Although I have a sneaking suspicion he's not going to be dropping off in terms of usage after the patch. We will see. I don't know exactly how much it will affect him. Waveclear going to be hurt quite badly. We'll be interested to see. But we do have that Jace lock, and as you say, just a very, very popular champion at the moment. Really, really strong all around. Can go mid, can go top. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go mid today, just because I feel like he has a fairly good matchup against Kha'Zix. Will be something we will find out in time, though. So we do have Sona, we do have that Sejuani, possibly going to be locked in. Both of those also very, very strong champions. I think there's a kind of an AoE focus here, but I think that's wise when the only lock-in they're up against is Nami, who has quite a strong disengage ultimate.
It is quite interesting. I guess what they're looking for here, however, is just a glacial prison out of the fog to suddenly stun everyone down and try and capitalize on that before the tidal wave becomes useful. I'm not too sure, but they have locked in the Sejuani and Sona pickup, so lots of CC, lots of AoE as well on top of that, and then Kha'Zix is going to be able to dart around the back lines and try and assassinate people here, there, and everywhere. Back on to Bench Gaming, looks as though they're going to lock in the Jarvan and the Caitlyn, so straight away we're going to see a Caitlyn Nami pickup once again.
Yeah, Caitlyn Nami, very, very strong, heavy poke lane, has the potential to all-in, sets up well for gank. It's just a very solid early game and all-around lane to run. Gonna be interested to see, though, what this mid lane pickup is going to be. Revolt Gentlemen are probably going to run Kha'Zix in that mid lane, but I just don't know. He could go top as well. It's just, at the moment, it's very much up in the air about the 2 solo lanes as to what is going to be picked, who's going to be run. And the other thing is, are they going to go for a swap up? Caitlyn Nami is going to be pushing fairly hard in the early game. Ezreal Sona, well, if they choose to lock in Ezreal, may not have quite the same pushing potential, but they may also have a difficult lane matchup if they go 2v2. So you got to wonder right now who's going to be coming out the better in this early laning phase.
They have locked Ziggs in, so while you're talking, Kha'Zix may be going mid, looks as though Ziggs will be heading in mid, if of course they are going to go ahead with this. And Snow, took Zerath, who's not the most common pick in mid lane, and now Ziggs, maybe he is a Prolly-esque kind of mid laner who likes to pull out the unconventional and underplayed mid laners and try and make them work. Ziggs is a very scary champion in the right hands. His Mega Inferno Bomb, his ultimate, has huge range, does a lot of damage, especially when you start getting items like the the Rabadon's Death Cap and the Void Staff and the like. So definitely one to watch out for, especially when you consider that, as we mentioned previously, the Crescendo and Glacial Prison combination is so much CC AoE to drop the Mega Inferno Bomb on top of that is going to be ridiculous damage. So it definitely does fit in their composition, and it looks as though the Ziggs is going to be a finalized pick. They've just switched that on to Snow. Really looking forward to this. Ziggs is one of my favorite champions. He's awesome to play and awesome to watch.
He has absolutely tons of poke. In fact, to be honest, Ziggs, for me personally, when I play mid lane, Ziggs is anathema. I cannot play against Ziggs for some reason. Just a really, really strong laning champion. The problem he tends to have, I find though, as the game goes on, his CC is a little bit unreliable. His, you know, the minefield is very, very nice, but that knockback on the rubber ducky, if he's playing with the best skin, is going to be, you know, just... It's difficult to both use it usefully and to knock back your enemy and to knock yourself away. Plus, the time it takes to get yourself away means you need some time to set yourself up. You can't just, you know, straight up say, oh, I'm in a bad situation, I'm going to use my movement skill to get out, because you got to go, right, throw down the satchel charge, move to the other side of it, get knocked forward. It's not as simple as other champions, so he tends to get focused down quite easily, but very strong in that laning phase, and we will see how well this goes for them after this break. Delay timer ticking down, so we'll see you after this.
Don't second guess yourself. You come with this time. You say it's not your fault, but you just can't deny. I can see it in your face when you take it. Now you change your story, try to say we are the same. You can keep on dreaming. Try to hold this out. It's falling from you. You brought to desperation. It takes. You come back, back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are underway. This is going to be Benched versus Revolt Gaming for the SteelSeries Challenge Cup. And this is going to be getting underway as I speak, and in fact, we are already underway. So, Metas, what do you expect to be seeing happening in this early game? It does look like both teams are kind of potentially looking to get aggressive here.
Yeah, it depends really on Snow. He's actually taken the Bouncing Bomb, living up to his name with the Snow Day Ziggs, which is also just such a good skin. I love the skin for Ziggs, but they don't have a great deal of CC at level 1, so I wouldn't expect to see Revolt's Gentlemen try and make something happen here. I think they'll be more than comfortable just to hide themselves back and stop any potential invades coming in. Whereas if you look at the opposition, they've got the gold card coming in from Twisted Fate. You've also got some of the the vision coming down from Damashian Standard, and Nami, who, if she takes Aqua Prison first, as she has, is going to have a lot of CC. So it doesn't look as though a great deal's going to happen here, Spud.
Yeah, after all, not... It tends to be that the teams with the most burst and the most level 1 CC are the ones that invade. And in this case, it seems like that's a relatively equal matchup, straight up burst, because Sona is actually a really huge factor in a level 1 fight just because of her sheer damage. And we actually now see Snow has actually been stun carded because he walked in just as they were about to do Wraith. We do have Yolozilla flashing over though, not able to pick up that kill. We do see the pot used there by Snow, so he should actually be okay. But that was a little bit of a risky move. I think he was expecting that that card would already have been used and that he could just kind of walk in and say, hey, and look to be harassing. Didn't manage to do it there.
Yeah, because his short fuse, which is passive, gives his next basic attack additional damage. So at level 1, he actually does a deceptively strong amount of damage alongside the poke that you were speaking of before. Actually, a bot lane, Sona's going very low. Exhausters came out. It has been cleansed, though, from Nardius. Now chasing Sunny XX. Is going to be able to escape, but pops the barrier up. So nice little exchange at bot lane. Bench Gaming have a remarkably strong start here, with Ziggs' flash down in mid as well against Jarvan. It's going to be definitely one with the bullseye painted on his backside here. Does have the satchel charge, but as you said before, not the most reliable escape mechanism. Are you still here, Spud? I cannot hear you if you are. Well, I will continue regardless. I assume that Spud's internet is going a bit whiffy, so I'll keep talking until he gives me a poke in the side and lets me know that he has returned. Either way, bot lane is looking pretty scary right now from Revolt's Gentleman. Ezreal's just about getting back. Jarvan came with the double buff in mid, but not able to pick anything up there. Snow was very, very patient, realizing his flash is down. Just gets caught narrowly from the wild cards, but should be just fine for now. Either way, bot lane, here comes Nightmare from the side, going to be darting in with the Arctic Assault, forcing the flash from Dirtgen, going to be chasing on with Sona though. Arctic Prison has landed. They're going to try and turn this one back around, but Dirtgen, going a bit too ballsy, will find himself taken out courtesy of the Ezreal, so that early advantage has been nullified. Are you back yet, Spud?
Hello. On my end, I actually heard it. I wasn't sure who had disconnected there. I still seemed to have connection to TeamSpeak, but I don't know what was exactly going on there. Whatever, we will continue on and pray nothing goes wrong. We do see a little bit of damage going on to Bimbo there in that mid lane. As you mentioned, that short fuse passive, quite potent, and getting the damage down on Bimbo, who is really getting bled down quite a lot by that passive there. Still going to be seeing
I'm not sure if Spud is just cut out again there, guys. I apologize. I'm going to keep talking until our producer tells me otherwise. But the gold card has came out from Twisted Fate. And that is going to be another kill coming down. Unfortunately, this is a problem that we've had before with TS, where randomly somebody will have connection issues. I have just been messaged, so I'm going to have a quick jump over here. It appears that Spuddington did lose connection there and is back in the channel once again. Are you with me, Spud?
Yeah, both I and my clone are in here. I'm not really sure what's going on here because it seems to me... Sorry. It seems to me as if, like, the moment like, I'm just... Ruben, are you still able to hear me when I am speaking? Like, when I cut out, or do I just cut up? So is it both Metas and me speaking then? when the issues occur. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're just discussing.
Okay. At first, he didn't hear you. Like, what happened for me is that you were talking, and then suddenly there was no more voice. So that's why I took over. Apparently, Ruben couldn't hear you at first until you
Right.
reconnected. So I'm assuming it was some problems on your end, Spud, because obviously you did reconnect with your clone, which is normally an indication that your TS dropped momentarily.
Yeah, all right. That is probably an issue on my end. Well, if I do drop out again, wait, was that? Did I just drop out again?
Nope, you're here.
No, okay. Okay. So if I do drop out again, just go ahead and carry on. But anyway, I will carry on as well because I won't necessarily know if I've dropped out, so I'll just carry on as well, and then we might get that awkward moment where I cut back in and I'm still going on. But we are seeing YOLOZilla actually going very aggressive in this top lane. Did get turned around there by Tofu. Tofu not going to be chasing that down though. That pot from YOLOZilla will get him back up to health, where Tofu will not be able to burst him down. Should be a pretty solid situation for him. Does actually look like he's going to recall that.
Yeah, it's that weird moment of paranoia. Speaking of which, Snow is going to be ganked once again. Has just dinged himself to 6. Here comes iNightmare from the side, though. They're putting down a fair amount of damage, but who's going to come out on top? Ignite, here comes the Mega Inferno Bomb. Force out the flash, but Snow's going to be flashing and finishing off with the short fuse passive, now turning his attention to Bimbo. He gets back to his tower, but that is the strength of Ziggs. Out of nowhere, suddenly a massive burst of damage comes down, and we are going to see Sejuani taking this opportunity, knowing that the opposition jungler is dead, to do some counter jungling.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Revolt Gentlemen here are running a really, really dangerous poke composition. Kha'Zix, they've got Ezreal, and they've got Ziggs, so if they can keep the enemy from engaging upon them, they are going to have a really, really brutal setup. But we do now see iNightmare going to be jumping out, is going to be actually able to smite away that blue. Now, Snow in a lot of trouble, but he's not going to die from that, and that will be the stolen blue buff. Should keep Twisted Fate relatively contained. It's going to be hard for him to push out his lane, and it's going to give him a longer cooldown on that ultimate, so that is going to suit Revolt Gentleman just fine.
Yeah, and some of that mana replenishment. Fair enough, he does have the blue cards that come in every now and again, but that therefore stops him getting golds and reds out. So he is going to be recalling right now. Ziggs, in the meantime, is happy just to farm underneath his tower, and Ziggs actually is a pretty strong farmer under the tower. Needs to be careful though, because he's coming around the side, and he's going to be facing off against the Junior on Jarvan, and beautiful satchel charge. Such quick reactions will just about save his life, and could spell doom for Jarvan, who's been ignited from Kha'Zix, and that's going to be a free Kha'Zix pickup. Tofu looking very, very good. And sad times for Jarvan. Tried his best to steal back the blue, but in turn just gave his own life.
Yeah, that's one of the things. If you aren't the proactive one in jungling, it does kind of signal what you're likely to be doing in the future. We do now see this Tofu returning into the top lane, going to be getting that farm up. And he is starting to take a little bit of poke here from YOLOZilla, but I feel like sooner or later he's just going to be able to all in Ezreal, all in against YOLOZilla. But we do see Twisted Fate. Bimbo 8 heading towards this top lane, does have that ultimate, should be in range already if they want to go for this dive. He is going to be going for it though. He will be jumping under the tower. We've got the flash and the jump from Tofu. Tofu able to put some distance between them, but not enough. He does get stunned, but they are now going to have to retreat. We do have YOLOZilla running from under the tower. We've got the attack going across. Ultimate in. The Mega Inferno Bomb. Beautiful combo there. And it does pick up the kill on Jace. So, the turnaround on the Twisted Fate ultimate. Ziggs actually able to respond when he jumps in.
That's exactly what we talked about in Champion Select. But a nice composition again for Snow. Last time around had Jarvan and Shen, I believe, alongside Thresh to lock everybody down and allow him to land ultimates. This time the Glacial Prison and also the Void Spike slowing down enough to land those both Mega Inferno Bomb on top. Very, very nearly claiming a double kill actually. So Ziggs already having a lovely start. 65 CS, 2-0, looking very strong. Twisted Fate has been pretty much neutralized thus far in the game. He wants to try and get ganks off like previously, but it horribly backfired with Jarvan falling again. So already looking pretty bad for Twisted Fate's perspective, and he's against a blue buffed up Ziggs, which is just going to be a nightmare. As you said before, Spud, you hate laning against them because the poke damage, especially with blue, is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the one real hamstring to the laning of Ziggs is his mana cost, so if you're keeping that blue buff up, You've got that Doran's Ring, the Flask, and the Mana Pot. No way is he going to run out anytime soon, and that means he's a scary, scary little midget. Very, very, very dangerous indeed. Has got those bombs, which are now doing, what? In the rank 4, doing 250 damage thereabouts per shot. By comparison, he's doing, what, about 30 extra damage over the damage on the wildcards, and wildcards are already an incredibly strong poke skill. So, yeah, he's dangerous, is that Ziggs in the early game. Couple that with the short fuse, and yeah, you've just got problems. So we are now seeing Sejuani coming in on this bottom lane. He's not going to be spotted out by the lane wards if she goes for it.
Yes, indeed. So it's a bit precarious here for bench gaming. They're trying to get some farm under their belt, but they've been caught out here. The True Shot Barrage comes out. Dirtgen falls to half HP, but it's going to be just fine. Meanwhile, though, in mid, Ziggs is going to be under heavy attack once again from Jarvan, but sniffing that one out with the ward down, and will be able to pull himself back. Minefield goes down for good measure, and is hiding around the side. So overall, a couple of ultis popped, but nobody falling.
Yeah, you've got to say, though, Snow's doing a very good job of keeping himself out of Jarvan's reach, because this is one of the things about being Ziggs in the situation is you just wouldn't expect normally to survive Jarvan ganks. Jarvan has a lot of distance that you can put down very quickly, and then he has that lockdown, which Ziggs has no answer to if he's already used that satchel charge to get away from the flag and drag. So, not an easy thing to do, but he's managing it very, very well at the moment, and it does seem to be working out. We do now see Jarvan actually returning to his jungle. Nothing too much actually in bottom lane. We've got Nightmare in that bottom lane. Dirtgen goes down very, very quickly indeed, and I don't know if Sejuani used her ultimate. She did indeed. That is a quick and easy pickup there. Cerner goes down, and you got to say, Revolt Gentlemen took out Big UK, are looking very, very strong now.
Yeah, definitely, and they went for that secondary gank because I knew that Nami popped the flash after the first time when the True Shot Barrage went down, so it was by and large a free pickup. Doing so is maybe going to be able to give them a Drake as well. Moving up towards mid because Jarvan again was putting down a lot of pressure on Snow. But yeah, they are now going to be facing Drake, already sub 50% HP. Nadia's coming around from the side. I don't think he's going to be able to 1v3 this. Ziggs bomb in for good measure, and I thought just for a split second that was going to be a steal. Here comes a teleport though. Exhaust has been used on Jarvan, so Junior's not going to be able to pick himself up any kills here. So that is pretty much going to be a free Drake and a couple of ultimates to boot. As you mentioned before though, Satchel Charge has about 20-second cooldown with blue buff, 25 seconds without. And really nice play here from Snow. He's using his Satchel Charge very sparingly, only when he really needs to. It's the reason he's able to constantly escape and evade these ganks in mid.
Yeah, and we are actually seeing now a very dangerous situation for Yolazilla in the top lane. And indeed the same for Kha'Zix here. He's trying to get himself out of sight, has got that unseen threat passive, knows the Tri-Brush isn't warded, will just recall, doesn't want to be caught out by that Twisted Fate ultimate. So he will actually get out with his life very easily there, and we do see the bottom tower now falling. Being said, Caitlyn pushing really, really hard, it's kind of her thing, and 13 minutes is actually fairly late to take that tower, even though it's a 2v2 lane as opposed to the usual 2v1 lane. Does feel like maybe she's not having the easiest time in the world. We have seen several Sejuani ganks down there, and that could have been the main cause of that. We are seeing Jarvan hiding in that top lane there.
Yeah, especially when you take into consideration the two duo lanes that are going up against each other and the amount of action that bot lane has seen. You go back to Season 2, this kind of period in time to take down a tower would be nothing too special. It's like, okay, yeah, it's fairly standard, but Season 3 we've seen lane switch-ups, we've seen hyper-aggression from junglers, 3 versus 2s even, that bot lane as a jungler will just come down to push out the tower, realizing that the global objective's more important than kills. So yeah, I mean, in terms of Season 3 meta, this is a very late first tower to be falling here, Spud. Definitely in the perspective of myself and you here, in US Challenger Series, we've not seen anything like this coming about.
Indeed, we have not, though we will be seeing Twisted Fate now roaming towards that bottom lane, but we also see at top lane the Cataclysm going down on Tofu, forcing that flash out. Twisted Fate invisible, and that has caused Revolt Gentlemen to just play very carefully in their own bot lane, just farming with the Mystic Shot, being Ezreal's strength. If he doesn't want to be there, he can just kind of farm out very, very, very safely indeed. And we do now see just a little bit of damage in that mid lane, nothing too serious. Snow chasing after Bimbo 8. We're trying to get that damage down, but we're seeing Sejuani and Jarvan very, very close to each other here. Wraith has been spotted out there by the damage, and we do see the smite there to just steal that away. Well, there are no objectives on the map really worth taking, so I suppose that honestly makes sense.
Yeah, and Smite doesn't have a huge cooldown, just about 70 seconds, so back up before you know it. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Nardius here. Even though Sejuani has been bot lane time and time again, bit of trolling there from Ziggs to stop the recall from Junior. But even though there's been a lot of pressure put down from Revolt's Gentleman at bot lane, Caitlyn's actually ahead of Ezreal by 23 CS. So just goes to show how well Caitlyn's been farming. Twisted Fate has popped his ultimate here, moving towards top. And doesn't look like they're going to get a reward for the Destiny being used. Having said that, though, Bimbo coming up from the side, Jarvan flagging and dragging, Mega Inferno Bomb as well, and the Bouncing Bomb to pick up the pieces. Double buff to Snow, getting really, really bad right now. And Twisted Fate and YoloZilla for the second time have gone in for a gank with the Destiny, and it has backfired.
I'm starting to wonder, is Ziggs going to be building a Deathfire Grasp here? He's got the Fiendish Codex, he's got the Needlessly Large Rod. That would give him unparalleled burst in bot lane, though Durgin now going to be having to pop that Tidal Wave. We've got the Sejuani gank again. Bonaparte flashes over the wall, going to be chased out by that Nardius. Nardius gets that kill. We'll now be getting Sejuani on him. Permafrost goes down. We will see Ezreal jumping over the wall any second, I'm sure. There we go. We've got some damage down, but that net will not be up for another 5 seconds or so. That kill is surely going to happen, and there we go. Permafrost picks that up. Wildcards over the wall, just kind of getting a little bit of a peck of damage there on Sunny. And that will be pretty much it for now.
Yeah, a really nice gank in from Sejuani, 1 for 2 after everything else. Bouncing Bomb again. Yeah, and just going back to the question that you posed before that team fight kicked off the bot lane, Deathfire Grasp on Ziggs is very interesting. The burst damage to single targets is going to be huge alongside AoE, so he is recalling right now with nearly 1.8k gold at his disposal. He's going to be going for Rabadon's Death Cap instead, so he's going to answer the question, not going to be going for Deathfire Grasp.
Fair enough. We'll probably build that Fiendish Codex into an Athene's Unholy Grail, which would be a much more conventional build. I mean, Ziggs normally wouldn't have the range to utilize that ultimate, utilize that Deathfire Grasp active, and that would was kind of what was throwing me off about it, but you never do know. I'm not a Challenger tier player. Far be it from me to fathom the mind of one who is such a good player when it comes to specific item builds. We do see Jarvan, though, has been spotted out. We'll be getting Sona kind of stood behind him. I don't know if Junior Co actually knows Snow. Going to be in a lot of trouble here, though. We've got the flag going down. We've got some damage being returned, though. That double buff now actually putting down quite a bit of damage itself. Just that red buff doing the damage. Jace hanging around mid lane now. Could go for this, but would possibly be ill-advised. There are a lot of other guys also hanging around.
Yeah, and with Jarvan spending so much time here, Junior and mid, Ziggs is able to actually pick up a 2-level advantage, now down to a 1-level advantage over his counterpart of Bimbo in mid. So that too is not looking too good from his perspective. Has just taken the blue buff though. True Shot Barrage came up from Ezreal, trying to steal that one out. Not able to land. Mega Inferno Bomb though, forcing the flash from Bimbo. Could see his life flashing before his eyes there. So again, just it goes to show how strong Ziggs is. It doesn't have to be anywhere near to you, and suddenly an artillery barrage lands flat on top of your head, and you are dead. Ace in the hole from Caitlyn is going to be picked up from Tofu, and that's going to be a free Drake courtesy of Sejuani. So nice play from Revolt's Gentlemen. They've really been impressing me thus far, but hadn't heard a lot about them before today. But Dignitas UK are now beating out Benched Gaming early on. They're looking good.
Yeah, I've got to say that I was not. If you asked me beforehand what they would be going for, how would Revolt Gentlemen? I think not a particularly good seed when they came into this tournament. Would they beat out 2 really solid teams in a row? In fairness, they're not beating out Bench nearly as hard as they were beating out Dig UK.
True. Yeah.
But if you'd asked me beforehand, I would definitely not have predicted this result. In fact, if I said it was almost a dead certainty that Dig UK would beat them, still, they are a very, very solid team, and they are proving themselves as such. One thing I am noticing, though, is that in addition to having that kind of really solid poke, just kind of chip damage, Revolt Gentlemen have an unusual thing in that they actually have the potential to burst you almost 100 to 0, like over a wall. Like we did see Xerath last game. if you got the Ziggs Q, if you got the Ziggs ult, and you got the Ezreal ult, you know, Ezreal Q, and that Kha'Zix W on you all at once, that would probably be enough to take down someone squishy, someone like Jace, someone like Caitlyn, someone like Twisted Fate, Nami even. They could just get deleted before they do anything. And we've actually now got Tofu going in on the top lane. Yodozilla is in a bit of a situation, but doesn't look like anything's going to come of it. They're just going to be going back to farm.
Yeah, just about out of range there. I think that iNightmare was hovering over his R button to fire off the Glacial Prison, but didn't go for it, opting instead to pull back Jace and pick up this tower instead. So we have seen this in both games. I'm keeping an eye in mid, seeing 3 players here from Bench Gaming pushing very aggressively, but it's just going to be a tower push, nothing else. Looks of things. True Shot Barrage clearing out some of the CS and tagging onto a couple of the Bench Gamers players. Here comes Ace in the hole, courtesy of Caitlyn, and the wildcard's narrowly missing Bonaparte. But it just seems like a to and fro kind of matchup here, with both teams going back at each other, going for the jugular. But you've got to say that thus far, Revolt's Gentlemen are coming out on top. Similar to game number 1, they pick up towers thick and fast and drakes. They've got beautiful objective control. And of course that translates well into global gold. Now about 6k ahead, picking up the red buff as well, and they should do this fairly comfortably. Having said that, we could have a re-engage coming in. Destiny's been used from Twisted Fate, and from the side, Bimbo is going to be locking down iNightmare. Beautiful Glacial Prison on top of the Mega Inferno Bomb. Oh my good god, that burst damage was insane. Ziggs will take down Twisted Fate, and again, third consecutive time that a gank, a potential pickup, has backfired, and that is a ridiculous combination. As you were just mentioning before, Swed, they can pop someone down from 100 to 0. It's exactly what happened to Bimbo.
Yeah, scary thing. We've actually now got Tofu under this tower here. He's going to be backing out. Did pick up the kill on Java. Nadia's now in a very dangerous situation. Manages to juke out the Void Spikes, though, and does keep himself alive, only for him then to be killed by Ezreal. So very nicely played again there, capitalizing on that advantage. And I've got to say, though, Nadia's pulled a really nice flash to get himself out of the Void Spikes. He's flashed like in between the shots as they were moving, but to little avail, but very nicely played in general.
Yeah, managed to save his life, but his team are taking a battering right now. Well, it kind of delayed the inevitable, because Nardius did fall eventually. But either way, it was a nice little play. Ziggs on 4-0, Ezreal on 4-0, and Kha'Zix 2-1. So many threats coming out here. Sejuani, of course, is a threat too with the ultimate, and even Sona is. So there's no respite here for Bench Gaming. Wherever they go, whichever part of the map they're occupying, there is always that split-second possibility of a very scary ball flying over the wall at you and freezing everybody in place by a nuke dropping on your head afterwards. And it's that same kind of position that Dignitas UK were in, where you have to say that their only real chance of bringing this game back is to just turtle in and try and go blow for blow once they have some more items. Because if they meet them in an open 5v5 right now, Spud, I feel they're going to get completely crushed.
It's a very difficult thing to deal with, that level of damage. I mean, what is the Mega Inferno Bomb doing now? About 720 damage. That is just kind of damage. It does actually decay the damage on Ziggs' ultimate. Like, I think you get 80% of the damage on the outer ring. But if they're locked in place by Sejuani, odds are he's going to hit with all that damage. And even if it's only 80%, it's still a lot of damage. And that means he can combo so well. They have so much AoE damage on this team, but at the same time, they're not restricted to 5v5 teamfights. They have a team that can function very well in very flexible environments, though. Junior going aggressive here. It does manage to go near, but not able to get the full damage on Snow. And we are seeing a Baron attempt here from Revolt Gaming. They have the pink wards down, and they can see 2 members, so they're thinking, well, they probably aren't doing it, but too late. It's gone, and that is the Baron take.
Yeah, it's going to be health regen on top of the additional stats, and sad times for Benched Gaming. As you mentioned before, the Mega Inferno Bomb is doing 700 plus damage, but when you add on top of that Crescendo, the Sejuani ult, Kha'Zix's Void Spikes as well, and even the Bouncing Bomb, it's going to start to equate into a lot more than 1.5k damage, I have to feel, if conjectured on each other. They're coming back towards the Drake again, ping the bot lane as well, and they have beautiful Drake timings here. Like, this is the one thing about Revolt's Gentlemen that I've noticed in the 2 games that we've casted. They've always been on point, Spud, to pick up these clean, free objectives. They've never missed out on an opportunity like this.
Yeah, they've just got the timings down, and they know when the cooldowns are up, and they know how to capitalize on those abilities. You've got to say they've just done a really, really sterling job this game from start to finish. Still going on for the moment, though. We have this tendency of somewhat counting their opponents out, but I do have a feeling that if this game drags on for long enough, there will actually be an advantage to be taken by the composition that has the Caitlyn, because Caitlyn is just really, really strong late game. People underestimate how strong she is. She is so good because she doesn't necessarily need defensive items, and I think against this enemy composition, she isn't going to need defensive items. Once she's got 3-4 items, she is going to be really, really scary. She is just going to start outputting so much damage, and if they don't focus her down, and it's worth noting, there isn't that much diving capability on Revolt Gentleman. If they don't focus her down when she's got that many items, she's going to start really bleeding them hard. But it is worth noticing that Tofu could potentially go for Nadius there. Did not choose to do so, though, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and to also just add on to what you said before, fully agree that Caitlyn has the cleanse. So again, doesn't necessarily need any defensive items because she has a defensive summon a spell. And a lot of the danger and a lot of the potential threat coming in from Revolt's Gentleman. Oh, the whiff from the ultimate there, courtesy of iNightmare. The first time it's happened, but Mega Inferno Bomb follows suit very, very quickly afterwards. So 2 ultis have been popped down. And I was just about to say that a lot of the damage and a lot of the threat coming out from Revolt's Gentleman is based on them landing ults. If they don't, they're no longer as much of a threat. So with these 2 ults down, I am quite interested to see if Bench Gaming are going to try and make a play. That being said, they are against a Baroned up team that's fed, so even without the ults, they have to be super careful here, Spud. Looks like this is balancing on a razor's edge, though, with both teams thinking about trying to make a play. They can't play this poking game all day long. They're going to have to make something happen, especially with the ults down.
Yeah, it does look like Bench might look to take that advantage, but they have not been able to manage it at the moment. They're just kind of rotating out their members, each person going back, buying home guard, and then running back in again. It's not easy to deal with this level of poke, and the tower is now actually going to start getting bled a little bit. We did see that shock blast come across Ezreal there. We do now see the tower getting knocked down. That will be jumping in. Kha'Zix's ultimate goes down, but he's going to get bursted down very, very quickly. We've got the Bimbo 8 going low. We've got Caitlyn safe on the side, and we see Ezreal doing much the same. Crescendo goes across there. Nadia's Pops Cleanse gets out as a result. Does look like that was a disengage that has worked out in the favor of Revolt Gentleman in the end. They managed to pick up a kill, and they have the health to back it up when they go for this tower push.
Yeah, again, the regen from Baron is so strong. The Hymn of Perseverance from Sona is going to continually heal them up. So, sorry, it's not the Hymn, it is the Arya. So it's one of those kind of situations where, yes, they got to trade. Kha'Zix died very early playing too ballsy, but they got to kill back themselves, and they were relatively full HP. So it's 2 towers and 2 kills. They're going back in once again here. Nadius is very low, doesn't have cleanse this time around. Is being chased down, and the short fuse will pick up that kill. Now focusing and picking up the kill onto Durchin. So that's a 3-for-0 thus far in this little team fight. 2-for-0, sorry, correction there. But it's going to be an inhib regardless. So again, they had the ultimates back up against Spud. They bided their time and waited. At this time, iNightmare did land his ulti very nicely onto 2 or 3 players, and they did go ahead and expose that weakness.
It's one of those rather kind of clever, or not so much clever things, but it's clever to avoid it, because it's very easy to be caught out by it. You kind of feel like the way it kind of works in people's heads quite often is that you see an ultimate cooldown being used, and you basically think, right, that means it's used until we disengage, and then we back out, and then we go back in again. That's not how it technically works. I mean, in practical terms, that's how it works 90% of the time. But in this case, Sejuani's ult was used so early on, and they poked for such a long time. It came back up, and I don't think anyone on bench was actually ready for that. They weren't, they didn't think, oh, Sejuani ult will be coming up in, XYZ number of seconds, because they didn't think, right, I'm going to take this specific timer. So instead, they ended up getting caught out by Sejuani going for the re-engage, and Nadius getting bursted very, very low. Didn't actually die immediately, but nice fight again there from Revolt Gentleman. They are just looking really solid, and did Snow intentionally not go in the Baron pit there, or did he just kind of jump? It looked like he was doing almost like a drive-by attempt.
I think so too. I think he's just trying to get some maneuverability. There we go again, using the same. Again, 12-second cooldown on Sackle charge. It has came down significantly from previously. Obviously building a fair few items. The Fiends and Holy Grail, as you called earlier, has been popped down here. So 20% cooldown reduction for Mr. Snow and Ziggs. Some poke coming out from Jace, but really not landing on anybody. And even if it had, probably not doing enough damage to deter them from pushing this inhib tower down. Here comes Jarvan though, thinking about an engage. Glacial Prison lands on just YOLO Zilla, but that is going to allow the unbelievably strong combination of Mega Inferno Bomb and Bouncing Bomb, both landing on Jace's head. Picks up the kill for free. True Shot Barrage will take down the Fish of Dirge. Now they're jumping on Nardius, who's going to fall as well. It's just this staggered onslaught that never relents, never stops going down. And that is the GG well played coming out. So again, second consecutive game that we've seen here, Spud, where Revolt's Gentlemen have put on a show. They're so strong.
Yeah, I mean, pulling out that Ziggs pick really worked well for them. Ezreal and Kha'Zix, and you know, it's just all around really well played, and they played to their picks well, and they played their champion select well. They got a really flexible, really strong team composition, and didn't necessarily pick like the OP champions, although I guess, you know, Sejuani and Ezreal and Kha'Zix are all very popular, but Ziggs pick really worked out. And by the way, that at the end there, his ultimate in the center of the explosion, nearly about like 20 damage short of 1,000 damage in just one straight up burst, which is why Jace, when he got hit by that ultimate and the Q, which was another like 500 damage, was just almost dead immediately and then got finished off instantly. So yeah, very scary. But I have a feeling that that might actually be the last game for us today. Oh, unless we could spectate one of the other ones, if that's going on. I don't know.
I haven't been told that would be the last. It depends on what Ruben wants to do, our producer. So either way, he has told me that regardless, after the live stream goes down, we will be going with reruns regardless. So there is going to be more League of Legends. If you missed the first game, which was Dignitas, and the aforementioned Revolt's Gentleman, then that will be coming up shortly. He said we could try and find a new one. So let's have a quick look here, Spud, and see if we can find a game that is still ongoing.
It might be worth going into a quick break while we decide which of those two things we're doing. So we will just, go offline. Well, we'll go into a break very quickly and we'll see if we can find another game. If not, reruns will come out. But really solid performance there from Revolt Gentlemen. Very impressive.